Hello, hello, hello. It's me again. Welcome to another episode of Unhinged Christian. It's your host, Asia Janae. Back with another week of tea, piping hot. I'm just playing. I want to first start off by thanking all my faithful listeners, all my new listeners. I won't even say OG. Literally, I've only had this podcast for like 3 weeks, almost four, maybe a month. Building a little group, a little foundation, a little family of crazy Christians, my cousins in Christ. But nah. So I want to say thank you for the love and support that I have been getting these past few weeks. Is phenomenal. I really appreciate that y'all value my perspective and what I have to say. It means a lot. And now we're going to just jump right into it. So, topic one for this week, it's been on my heart so bad, y'all. So bad. Low effort people. Oh, I just feel in my bones this gonna be such a good such a good read. Jesus. My biggest gripe with low effort people is that I've noticed that those are the same people who expect everything to be handed to them, or they expect to be blessed abundantly with little to no work involved. They just think, oh, okay, just because it's me, I'm going to get it and it's mine and I deserve it. But what groundwork have you done? Like, what foundation have you laid to be successful and to even be blessed? Like, what makes you think you're so deserving? I think people like that who are also not willing to put in the work don't really realize that in that it slows down your progress and it slows your walk with Christ, at least on the Christian side. With me, I've noticed that there was a time in my life where I really just thought, just because it was me, I could get what I want, I could have my way and blah, 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 just because. And being, um, let's see how I could put this. Being that my parents kind of enabled it to be that way, I got out into the real world and somewhat fell on my face. Like, yes, I do what I'm supposed to do, but that does not guarantee that I'm going to get what I want. And I feel like that did not translate well into my adult life because I got into the real world and I was like, hey, I do this, I do that, I do this. Why can't I do this? Why can't I have my way? And I found, especially in my early 20s, that I was definitely like a brat. Like I do everything. And that translated over into my work life, my relationships, like my friendships. I'm like, hey, I do this. I was basically keeping like tallying up everything that I was doing and being like, these are the reasons why I should get what I want. So why am I not getting what I want? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what actual effort or what hard work or just work in general was I putting in to be so deserving or to feel such a sense of entitlement that I deserve to be blessed abundantly. And now I'm frustrated and not being able to understand why I'm not being blessed because I did everything I was told. I did everything I was asked. And it takes time and I would say some wisdom to really understand like anybody can do what they're told. Anybody can blindly do what they're being told to do, i.e., the military. That's all we are. We just a bunch of people who got together and was like, these folks gonna tell me what to do and they gonna pay me for it. Why not? But yeah, it's more so about understanding as I got older, sorry, I came to realize that it's more so about understanding and resonating why God is having me do these things. And then that prompted me to be more willing to work or at least work harder because I understood sometimes because there were other times I did not understand why God had me doing stuff or why I was doing anything. but I just trusted God and I trusted his anointing over my life to where it was like, I'm gonna do it. I may not understand it, but I'm still gonna do it. I'm not gonna cause a fuss. Like it is frustrating sometimes to not know, but you get used to it. Kind of crazy. But yeah, reaching back though to the low effort people, hey boo, I know a lot of us have dealt with low effort in my generation. I see that it's primarily in relationships, like romantic relationships, where women tend to deal with men on a consistent basis who show little to no effort and then shoo away the guys that are pouring into them. Gladly, I'm seeing that my girls are coming out of that. We are being released of those shackles. Like, hey, your low effort equals no effort on my end. And I do feel like there's a lot of us who need to be delivered from that for sure, because accepting low effort in one area just opens the door for other or opens the door in other areas of our lives to generate low effort frequencies basically. So if you begin to accept this, then it's like, oh, okay, you'll start to settle in other places in your life because you're settling in this one place. It starts to become congruent in other spaces in your life. You do not listen, it's not even about the money and all of that stuff that we see on social media. It's about how a person is pouring into you as a human and how they're making you feel, and being able to stand up for yourself and be like, I deserve more or I deserve better, and not allowing anybody to see that you don't realize that about yourself yet. And they manipulate that and use that to their advantage, because there are a lot of people out there like that that see that you don't see your potential yet. So you'll accept anything, and they set the bar beneath hell. So that way it's like when they do a little bit of something, it's like, oh my gosh, they did this for me. Da, 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 da. Whole time they set the bar so low to begin with that when they do 10% of something, it feels like 50 and it feels like 75. When the effort was at negative 78 the whole time. So it's just being able to discern through that and navigate like, okay, I know I deserve this. I don't know how I'm going to pour into myself to make sure, like, on a continuous basis that I know this or that this is a norm for me. But that's definitely something that we need to tap into, twin, because whoa, I've been seeing so many people like, I don't know, just lose themselves because they get, and not in literal bed, but they get in bed with people in any capacity who exploit the fact that they don't know their worth. And those are low effort people. And those same people, even outside of relationships, low effort people in life. How you do nothing to propel yourself to reach your own goals and reach your own successes and expect the world to give you everything. God does not work like that, baby. What they say, faith without works is dead. If you don't put in the work, you cannot expect to reap the benefits or get a reward for doing nothing, for simply existing. That's not how the world works. Colossians 3:23 says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord and not for human masters. What that mean? What does that mean? That means you don't come to this job every day and work down to the bone and to the gristle and feel drained. That ain't of God. When you do anything in the pathway of the Lord, like if it is ordained and anointed by Him, you're never going to feel exhausted, mentally drained, stressed, depressed, not enough. You know, you're not going to feel that way if the work that you're putting in is for the Lord. And I feel like along the way, we get so caught up in this whole like grind culture and I got to do this and get it out of the mud and yada, 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 that at the end of the day, if it is for you to be doing that and working that hard, how do you feel come 8 o'clock at night? Are you crying, stressed, depressed? Are you drained? Are you exhausted? Or do you feel like you're filled with a sense of purpose at the end of the day? When you complete that task, when you set that goal and you meet it and exceed it, if those things that you're doing align with your actual purpose and they are of God, check in at 8 and tell me how you feel. That's how you're gonna know if what you're doing is for you and aligns with the purpose that God has of your life. If at 8 o'clock tonight, whole day done went by, and you like, oh man, the day done it didn't work me, they done did this and blah blah blah. Check it. That's all I'm saying. Check it, check it, check it, check it. Because anything that is of God, baby, you're gonna be like, man, I can't wait to get up and do that again. I can't, oh, I got this idea, I got that idea, I can't wait to implement this, look at this process, draw this new sketch up for this brand and collaborate with this company. If these things that you're doing on a day-to-day, even on a small scales of, okay, I have to write this down every day. I have to journal this every day. If that is not propelling you towards your purpose and your goals, and you don't feel rejuvenated at the end of it, or at least feel a sense of accomplishment, that might not be for you, babe. And that's a sad truth because a lot of people are convinced that what they're doing is for them. Like, and that's where the misconception is. What you're doing shouldn't be for you, it should be for God. What you're doing should fill you up in a way, but the end goal should not be for you to benefit. It should be for you to please God's purpose, which in fruition will benefit you. Full circle moment. Yeah. But if you're a low effort individual, you can expect, how can you expect anything to benefit you when you're not doing anything on your end to benefit God? You want God to rain down on you and give you all these blessings, and you just want life to just happen for you, but you sitting at home scrolling. You on the socials 8 hours out of the day, gone. You know what I mean? You're putting in no work. You have no foundation, but you're expecting the greatest of blessings. And that's just not how that goes. That's an R. It's an R for me. I know sometimes the question always also strikes like, well, what if I don't know what my purpose is? Where do I start? Like, what do I do to align myself with what my purpose is? Or how do I find a motivation for this stuff so that I am able to start putting in the work and not be a low effort person? Baby, you got to get in with God. It's nothing that I could say or do or tell you that's going to be like, yeah, you know what? This is what I'm supposed to do with my life because she said this. I ain't nobody. I'm just a messenger, babe. You have to, your purpose is already within you. I will say that. What you're destined to do and who you're destined to be is already instilled in you. It's about unearthing those things which may be buried underneath things of the flesh and things that man have projected onto us. But who you are and who God has intended you to be is already instilled within you. So it's really nobody else's job, or no one else has the ability to pull that out of you except for you. Which is where I'm saying you can't be a low effort person and be trying to be successful, because you have to do that work within yourself first. That's work on its own. So if you're not even willing to do that, there's nothing else that needs to be said. Mhm. Now, the other side of low effort people, because I know the folks be wanting to talk about this in relationships, and I'm gonna put this as plain as I can. If it feels like the equivalent of trying to solve an algebraic function when trying to figure out if someone likes you, I need you to I need you to put your shoes on and I need you to tie them up real tight. I need you to gather your belongings and I need you to leave. It is never going to be that difficult. Whoever you're dealing with will never make it difficult for you to know or understand where they stand in regards to you. But low effort people have this like maneuver, and I'm not doing the whole men women thing because women have the tendency to be low effort too. And honestly, a real gag is we just expect stuff. We be like, where the table? Where the table? Baby, what table? Are you the kiddie table? What are we doing? What is it that I want as a woman? The things that I want and desire as a woman and require of a man, if the roles were reversed, would I be able to even provide the things that I was requiring? What that lady on TikTok be saying, catch it. A lot of us have these standards of like, well, I gotta have this, and this man gotta do this, and this, and this. Okay, flip it. Flip it. If the roles were reversed, would you, if you had a list and somebody flipped that list over and gave it to you as their requirements, would you be able to check off the same boxes that you're requiring someone to check off for you? No? Okay. Then you can cut this podcast off right now. I'm just playing, don't turn it off. But no. Women can also be low effort, but I'm speaking generally right now. There is like this trick that I've noticed. Sorry, I can't talk today. Noticed about low effort people is that they will come in and they will woo you, and then they will set the bar below zero. And then have you wondering, like, maybe it was something I did, or maybe it was something I said. And they keep you in that gray area. And then they give you like 30%. And you're like, oh, okay, everything's good, everything's good. And then they give you 25%. Over time, they knocking it down so much that once you get to 5%, it still look like 30%. I don't know. I don't know, baby. That's mass manipulation at its finest. But you have to understand that, or I won't say understand, I would say it is up to you to be able to discern people and their intentions and just paying attention because people's actions will always tell you their intentions. Oof, that was good. um, I mean, hey, put in that work on either end. Put in that work with God first. I'm not even gonna say on either end. Put in that work with God and just keep your head down and be about your business. But make sure to incorporate him in everything that you're doing. So that way when you're like, oh, I'm working hard and you're not doing it for like an immediate reward or reward at all, like you're just doing it because you know this is what you're supposed to be doing, blessings gonna fall out the sky. But if you don't do that work within yourself first and then with God, you won't be able to do the work anywhere else. You won't have the motivation to do it anywhere else. So I would just say keep all of that in mind. Which leads us to our second topic. Topic two is investing in yourself properly, which allows you to invest in other people responsibly, which I feel like definitely ties into topic one. Because if I'm not taking this time to get to know me, and you're not taking the time to get to know you and who you are and your beliefs and your boundaries and my beliefs and my boundaries, I'm gonna just be investing in anybody. And I'm gonna let anyone invest into me. Because not all investments are good investments. And I feel like people really we need to start looking at ourselves as investments. And not to dehumanize this, but it's just like if you put in so much work to be where you are, you're not going to allow anyone to come in and derail all of that work you just put in. You're not going to allow anyone to come in and unearth your boundaries, your morals, your standards. You know what I'm saying? Because you put in that work. That's just like investments. I put in all this money with this investment. I'm going to make sure that I'm not investing with other companies, other bad companies, or companies who don't share the same morals or values or visions, because bad company produces bad business. So now my investment went where I was as far as me as an investment. I was up there, baby. They was, hey, she's hard to get. I'm like the Bitcoin. Like that's how you have to look at yourself. It's so you have to invest so much, which means you have to work this much and that much to even be able to invest in this type of stock. That is how we have to look at ourselves. So that way it could mold how we look at other people and how we choose to invest in other people. Because the only real currency is time and energy for real. If I'm investing in you, it's because I trust my judgment and I trust how I've invested in myself. That's how you see people who don't have a lot of friends and the lone wolves, and people be writing them off like, oh, you just introverted, you're mean, you don't like to go out. No, those are people who are very, very picky and very analytical of who they invest in because of the time that it took for them to invest in themselves. All that, what they were saying, blood, sweat, and tears, that's a real thing. That stuff is real. I'm not just investing in any and everybody just because. Just what? Just to have friends? It's always going to be a quality over quantity thing. And you'll realize that people who are like, who have the more solidified friendships or just healthier friendships usually have healthier boundaries. They have healthy standards that are suitable to them. And it only invites a group of or a type of energy that can understand that and reciprocate it. People who don't have boundaries cannot ever be friends with people who have boundaries because they will take your boundaries as offense. Like, oh, well, I can do this and people say this to me. Why can't I say that to you? Why can't I treat you this way? Because you don't have any boundaries. That doesn't mean I have to forego my boundaries just because you have none. And baby, this is a conversation that goes well beyond friendship. This really, for me, this hits personally with family, especially in the Black community. You growing up, it's just like, do what you told because I said so. I pay the bills, you eat, you fed, you clothed, all of those narratives, right? So then we get older, and I found that it's harder to navigate adulthood with older generations of Black parents and family members because they take you setting boundaries as disrespect. And it's just like, not to say that they didn't have boundaries, but they were never reinforced or even taught on how to uphold boundaries for themselves and to stand up for themselves. That when we do it, it's like, who do you think you are, and you're not going to talk to me that way, and I did this for you and I did that. And like I said in the first topic, keeping tabs on what was done in order to receive something on the back end when there's no genuinity in that. You're not doing that because it's the right thing to do. You're doing it with an expectation, no matter how far off or how down the road this expectation may be, you still want it to be met. And all because you don't have any boundaries. And because I have boundaries now, I'm disrespectful because I won't let you call my phone and talk to me any kind of way when I pay the bills on this phone and in this house and put the gas in this car. You're darn tootin'. You're not gonna come over here and tear down what I've built up. You're not going to sit here and take my portfolio value down because I'm a good investment. The risk is always going to be worth the reward. And if we do not feel that way about ourselves, it will be very, very difficult moving forward for us to really analyze other people's character and integrity and looking at their life portfolio, because everybody's an investment. And if your portfolio don't look good, if it don't look good now and for the next 5 years don't look good, baby, the investment's off the table. But that's how we have to think. Like, I feel like that it would be very beneficial if we started to implement that sort of thinking, because it's like, okay, I invest this with hopes of what return, because we're all doing it for a return at some point when it comes to people. You know what I mean? But it's just like, what am I looking to gain long term from this? And these are things I feel like if we started to utilize stock market thinking as far as investment into our personal lives and just utilizing that blueprint, it will make it a lot easier, and we'll find a lot more value in the friendships and the company that we keep. Because just being around people for the sake of not wanting to be by ourselves, your portfolio is garbage. I can already tell you. I can already tell you within meeting 5 or 10 of your people. First of all, if I had to meet 10 of your friends, I'm already a little scared. Why do you, I understand college and whatever, but it's like people who you hold near and dear to your heart. I just think that if we really checked everybody in our lives portfolio, will we be pleased or even impressed by what we saw and the long term value of it? Like, okay, this is where you are right now, but in 10 years, because of your character, because of the things that you've shown me, because of your heart, X, Y, and Z, you are projected to be here. You know what I'm saying? Um, but all of that definitely starts with investing in myself properly. If I don't take that time to learn what it is I will tolerate, what it is I won't tolerate, what my non-negotiables are, what I'm willing to accept, how what compromise looks like for me, what sacrifice looks like for me. If I don't take the time out to invest in myself properly and make sure my portfolio is outstanding, because there's always going to be room for improvement. But if I don't have a solid foundation in my portfolio with my financial advisor, who is the big God, then how can I how can I look at other portfolios and be like, well, this is good. This is like, my judgment's going to be skewed because I don't have anything to base it off of. I'm just going off of feeling, and feelings are fleeting, babe. You could feel I felt sadness this morning, and then I ate and I was okay. So you see what I'm saying? Like, feelings are fleeting. What does that foundation look like? What is that, all that time and that effort and that repetitiveness, and my what are my habits like? What are my hobbies? Those things I have to like figure out on my own. That's what my portfolio is composed of. So if I don't know those things and I'm showing up to people with an empty portfolio, I'm letting them figure me out. I'm letting them tell me who I am. And I'm using whatever they put in my portfolio as my identity and my portfolio, even if it is not true to myself. Ooh. So then how can I go forth and look and judge other people's portfolio if my portfolio doesn't reflect isn't a proper reflection of who or where I am? Mm, mm. You want me to invest blindly with you when I haven't taken the time to invest in myself? Mm-mm. It's a no for me, Bookie. I'm just saying it's a lot. It's a lot to it that I feel like we don't utilize. And if we did, we'd have more fruitful relationships. We'd have more meaningful relationships. Because see, people do a lot right now, but for what? Just because? Like, just to say they did something, not to actually accomplish anything. It's about quality, never quantity. So, yes, taking that time to be alone and isolate and even sometimes hyper focus on who I am and who I want to be and who God needs me to be is necessary. It's almost mandatory. It's definitely mandatory because if I don't get in my word and get in my faith and let God mold me into who I'm supposed to be, I'm malleable. And anything anybody says to me could easily become who I am. That could easily be my identity, is what people say to me. And that's not, at least for me, and I wouldn't want that for anyone else, but that's not how any of it's supposed to be. That's not how we're made to be. So why are we accepting that? But the work starts with us first. Got to be willing to invest with you, because if you don't think you're worth the investment, why would anybody else? Not the actual like quality stakeholders. If your portfolio is lackluster, why would they invest? Now it's, oh, I need a high value man. Baby, your portfolio is garbage. And any man of value will look at that portfolio and walk away, wouldn't even consider it. And vice versa. Any woman of value will look at your portfolio and be like, "Eek, I can't associate myself with that." And I wouldn't. You shouldn't. So once we get in that mindset of being the first and most important investment and what investing in ourselves and incorporating God looks like, we'll always understand that when people interact with us, we know that the risk is always worth the reward. Always, always worth the reward. If you don't feel that way about yourself, don't worry. In due time, you will get there. It's nothing to fret, but it just takes time. It just takes time. But that's really all I have for y'all this week. I pray y'all out. God, thank you for yet another week of your good message, your good glory, your grace, your mercy, your love. Let me be a vessel of your light and understanding to people, and continuously giving any and everyone a space to just show up and feel safe and accepted and maybe understood. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay, y'all. This is wraps up episode 4. Um, Thank y'all for coming to sit with me. Another week. This one gonna be on time this week too, y'all. I'm excited because last week I was hurting, but we gonna be good. We good this week. We good. So, yeah, I would say make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. But this is not YouTube. So I don't know. Follow the Apple Podcast. Follow on Spotify. Please leave a review. Y'all just got me talking. I don't know what. Tell me if you like it or not. I mean, thank you for telling me like DMs and stuff. Put it on the platform. I need suggestions. I don't really need any, but I would like suggestions. I would like for people's, perspectives that I could speak on and shed new light onto. Tell me something, please, and thank you. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all next week. Or y'all will hear me next week. Yeah, no videos.